head halters. Yeah, let's go there. There are some of you who love them, and there's some of you who hate them. And there are some of you who, well, fight about them on social media. And there's some of you who have never used one before. They're kind of like these high-heeled shoes. You know, there's some people out there who really love wearing high-heeled shoes, and there's some people out there who hate wearing them. And there are some people out there who've never tried them before. Although I don't really know a lot of people who fight about high heels. But anyway, not a perfect analogy, but point holds. Sometimes one of the big differences between whether something is cool or not is whether you've learned to like it. And we should be able to teach our dogs how to love a new piece of gear. That's what I'm going to show you today. I'm going to show you how to get Kip to love wearing a head halter using a very simple process. And I'm going to target in specifically on 3 areas that are often overlooked. And they're 3 areas that can really give you the advantage in terms of getting a dog to like wearing one. So let's get started and let's teach this guy to like wearing a new piece of gear. Yeah. As you can see, I've taken my high heels off because I'm not fully conditioned to wearing high heels. I don't love wearing them fully. So if I wear them for more than a short period of time, they start to bother me. I feel wobbly. I want to take them off. And you know what? That's exactly what happens to a lot of dogs, where even if we've used a little bit of food, they're not fully conditioned to love wearing it. And then they start rubbing at it, fussing at it, trying to get it off. So those dogs are not really that much different than me not being fully used to or fully loving the high heels, right? So what I want to do first is I want to start off with step number 1, which is teaching him that the head halter is a pretty awesome thing. And to do this, I want you to think of cats and can openers. Well, just like that on cue. So cats and can openers. You run a can opener and you put some canned food in a bowl. Repeat that a few times and before you know it, you run the can opener and you know what's going to happen. The cat's going to run to the bowl. And that's what we're going to start off with him and the head halter. Step number 1 is I want him to be really happy to see that head halter. And to do that, I've got my head halter put away. I've got my food put away. They're out of sight. We're just chilling. We're relaxing. And then we're going to do our drills. Let's get started. I'm turning sideways so you can see where I'm feeding on this. I have my head halter hidden behind me of the food. And once in a while, I might even put my arm behind me. I don't want him thinking that my reaching is what I'm conditioning. I want him to know that it's the head halter. And just like the can opener has to come before the food comes out of the can, the head halter has to come out before I start reaching for my food. It wouldn't make sense to do it the other way around. So imagine if you put food in a cat's bowl or you brought food out and then you started running the can opener. Bzz, 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 bzz. Wouldn't make any sense, right? It's always the trigger, the can opener first and then the food. So since the head halter's taking the place of the can opener, it's got to come out first. And I've got it extended to full size. And I'm going to pay him through the nose loop. If I have to pay further back, I'll pay further back. It's not, the starting point doesn't matter. But as he gets comfortable, I'm going to pay near the head halter. And then I put it out of sight. And then once in a while, I might reach and fuss. And I continue doing this until I get the cat running to the cat running to the food dish thing. So if I bring out the head halter and he starts to sort of thrust his head towards it happily, then that means I can go on to step number 2. So that's your test marker that says you may go on. So let's see if I can get that from him. I bring out the head halter, no food. Otherwise it messes up my test. See that? Not the cat. Right. So if I'm holding it out, he's starting to direct his food-seeking behavior towards the head halter. That tells me I can go to step number 2. And he's ready to go to step number 2. Icarus? Well, I think he's ready to play. Step number 2, what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start marking behavior that I like. And the behavior that I like is Kip pushing his nose towards the head halter. So I want to say yes as he's moving his head towards it, aiming for that position of food that he's expecting. And I want to gradually start to kind of expect him to push his nose further and further. Well, maybe not gradually, actually pretty quickly. So when he's pushing in forward, I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to still pay in behind that head halter. And he's going to start learning that when he pushes his head through the nose loop, I'm going to say yes, and then I'm going to pay. So notice the order. It's I show the head halter, he pushes his head forward as he's moving, I'm going to say yes, and then I'm going to reach in and pay. It's pretty simple. Okay? So his job is to put on the head halter. It's not my job to put the head halter onto him. Right? So watch closely. Let's see if we can't get him to start putting on a head halter. I'm not so concerned about the food anymore, about hiding it. And he's being such a dog. Okay. Yes. 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 As he gets the hang of it, yes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to allow this strap to start kind of sitting on his nose. Yes. So he starts to know what it feels like. Yes. Yes. So he puts it on, not me, but I drop it then. Yes. 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 Now, when he's capable of putting this on, he's targeting it really well. Yes. 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 When he's targeting it really well, yes. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change to the next step. Yes. Step 3 is one of the steps that we like to focus on with our Awesome Dogs clients that often gets missed in head halter conditioning. Have you noticed that a lot of dogs, when they're improperly conditioned, are rubbing the nose strap off, or they're rubbing their face along the ground because the nose strap is irritating them? You know, I'm not sure that we should be really surprised by that. Most dogs from a young age are conditioned to nut collars or harnesses, right? Very young age. So they're accustomed to feeling something here. But here, not so much. So what I need to do is I need to explain to him in a certain way that says, this pressure right here is okay, and I need to get him familiar with it so it doesn't bother him later on when we tighten this up. So next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to put pressure on the nose strap, just a little bit, and then I'm going to feed him. There's no behavior that he has to do. So step 1 was the head halter means cookies. Step 2 is thrust your nose in, and I will pay you for pushing your nose in. Step 3 is I'm now going to put pressure on that head halter so that you get used to that sensation. So he puts his nose in, I'm going to come in gently, a little bit of pressure, quarter second, and I pay. A little bit of pressure, and I pay. And then a little bit of pressure. And I'm going to, if he seems happy with this, I can start putting a little bit more pressure so he gets used to this feeling. A little bit more. And if he's doing well, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start holding it for longer. So 1 Mississippi. And if that's going well, I might go on to 2 seconds. 1, 2. then maybe I go 1, 2, 3. And if I see him start to worry or fuss, then it means I'm pushing too hard. And I would obviously adjust. So it's not just a matter of listening to the dog. It's making sure that we adjust accordingly. And what I want to start seeing, if he's starting to put it together, what he's going to start doing is when I don't put pressure on this head halter, he's actually going to start leaning into it. And that tells me he's starting to realize that pressure on the bridge of the nose is a good thing. This step is pretty easy. If you have a dog that has handling issues, obviously all of these instructions, you want to make sure that you deal with the handling issues first. But I want you to forget about the nose loop temporarily and only fixate on the back strap. We want to make sure that we start fitting it to the right size at this point, and we start with the strap fully extended. And most dogs are pretty good with this simply because they're used to neck collars. So what you're going to do is you're going to put it on them and you're going to feed them, and then you're going to gradually tighten the strap until it's at the right size. Back to our shoe example, it's bad if it's too tight and it's bad if it's too loose. Different product lines, difference in how tight it should be, but think too loose starts to rub and irritate, but too tight is also uncomfortable. For this brand, you're looking about 2 to 3 fingers under the back of the neck strap. And let's start. So I've got the collar. I'm going to come in. Come here, come. Touch. Down. Okay. I'm going to come in, put it on him. I'm going to pay him. And with super loose, super easy, that's exactly what we want. And tighten it up. Just a little bit. Okay, put it on. Still really loose. And take it off. Right? No stress. Just having a grand old time. This is like easy peasy. Take it, put it on. Okay, getting close. I'm 2 hands. Oops, I forgot to feed you. See? Silly mom. Tighten it up. Feed. Where'd it go? Tighten it up. And we're at about the right level. 2 fingers, or I feed. And I want to make sure he starts to get comfortable with this more snug back of the ear position. Right, so that's your step 5. I want a dog that's happy with the change in where that neck collar sits. Good job, Kip. Step number 6. If you need to, go back to that neck strap, open it up a little bit just for ease of handling. But we're going to go back to the nose strap. Okay, it's super way too big, and that is perfectly fine. What I want is I want him to put it on. Remember, he's fine with that. I'm going to come in. I'm going to do up the neck strap. I know it's way too big. Okay, oh, God, boy, you're so handsome. And I'm going to feed him, and feed him, and feed him, and feed him, and feed him. Oh, you're gorgeous. And I'm going to take it off, and we're going to take a break. So, like, really take a break. Okay? So it's not a video that you're doing, it's real life. Take a nice long break. In the meantime, did well with it. He's having a good time. Come on in and just kind of make it a teeny bit tighter. Okay, especially as you get closer to the right fit, go in very tiny steps. It's up to him to put it on. Then you come in, you do it up. Go. Who's gorgeous? You are so gorgeous. Yes, you are. You're so gorgeous. I'm so sorry about that. Take it off. Take a break. Okay? Then you're going to come in, you're going to tighten it up a little bit more. And you're going to keep tightening it up. Okay? As you get closer to that nose loop being the right fit, make sure that you're going in very tiny steps. He should not really be able to tell that you're cinching it up, right? So he puts it on. I come in, I do it. Oh, it was gorgeous. Yeah. Who's a handsome boy? Yeah, you're handsome too. Have a cookie. Oh, so good. And I take it off. Take a break. Okay. So the whole purpose of this is now we're just kind of reintroducing that tighter nose strap that we're getting the right fit. Kip, you wanna come back and work? Yeah, it's not yours. Come here. Ready? Lie down. Who wants to be gorgeous? You do? You put it on. So think of it as if I've done my job really, really well. Who's gorgeous? You're so good looking. Oh, very nice. If I've done my job really well, then I'm going to have a dog that's fighting to put it on. I'm presenting him with the opportunity to wear something that he likes wearing, which is kind of a flip. Usually what we're saying is, I'm so sorry, I know this sucks, but you gotta do it. But if you do it right, what you're saying is, this is an awesome thing, and I'm presenting with an opportunity that you want to take. It's kind of a different mindset, and it works really, really well. So I'm gonna tighten this up for my next rep until I get it to the right place. Oh, who wants to be gorgeous today? You do? Oh, gorgeous. So good. And I'm actually at the place where, you know what, it's the right fit. I can't pull this nose loop off. He's comfortable with it. It's not rubbing in his eyes. Look at you, pretty boy. You're so awesome. And now what I can do is I can, a few times throughout the day, put it on him, spoil him, make him feel like he's the most handsomest boy in the world, and take it off. Step 6. Gradually cinch up the nose loop until you're getting a proper fit. We're not done yet, because there's a couple more sticky areas. I got hair all over me. Step number 7. This is the second sticking point that many people miss. So when I'm at the point that I can put this on, people usually think, oh good, I'm done. But that's like me with my high heels and not really being completely conditioned to them. Very few dogs are used to having a chin strap dangling from their chin. So I'm going to put the leash on, and I'm going to pay. And as he gets used to that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing a little bit of a wiggle and pay. I'm not trying to trigger a reaction. I just want him to start realizing that there's this strange thing here underneath his chin, and that it's a positive thing. So wiggle it a little bit, pay. Okay. So another little sensation that some dogs really have a problem with, unless you take the time to get them used to that there might be some pressure underneath here, and there might be some noise, and there might be some motion. Not making them uncomfortable, just getting them used to it. So wiggle it a little bit and pay. That's step 7. And then step number 8. It's our final step. It is also the third sort of sticky point that people sometimes overlook. It is also my concluding thoughts. Once a dog likes to put on a head halter, or any tool for that matter. I mean, I think this applies equally well to no-pull devices such as, the harnesses, no-pull harnesses, anything. These products give humans a lot of leverage over a dog. And so what we have to remember is that the dog hasn't been taught to walk nicely on the leash. They haven't been taught to stop pulling yet. And these tools give humans a lot of relief so that they don't feel pain in their shoulder, that their shoulder socket's being ripped out. And then they start just going for walks. But like me with my shoes, if I want to learn to get comfortable in it, I've got to start practicing some walking. And you have to learn how to feel comfortable doing that so you're not wobbly, so you're not falling over. And behaviorally, you don't want the dog sort of falling over, because they're going to just start pulling on the head halter unless they're taught otherwise. And I think that's why sometimes people rightfully get upset when they see that people perhaps are feeling more comfortable, but the dog is still charging out in front of them and they're pulling and they're yanking on these devices, or that maybe they see people out and about and the dog's being dragged around as if it's a boat on a tow. And these things are understandably a concern. So your last step is understand that you and your dog are both worth the investment of a leash walking class. That, it's not enough for a dog to love the tool they're in. And, that's absolutely a primary goal of teaching and training, but also make sure that you put the time in to start teaching them to walk nicely, so that this new tool ends up being something where they're learning skills that they're walking by your side and ignoring distractions. And that means starting in the house and working up and building around distractions. So anyway, I hope this has been useful. And make sure that you make sure you share your success stories if you run into problems. And please make sure to follow this YouTube channel. We're going to be putting a lot more material out here. Excited about that, and looking forward to a lot more stuff. In the meantime, what do you say, Kip? Shall we practice walking? Come on, let's walk. Leave it. Whoa, Mommy's not very good at this, is she? Yes. Yes.